Hello and welcome to another episode of the To Baldly Go podcast, and thank you for joining me on my mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to baldly go where so many have gone before. My name is Aaron, and I am watching Star Trek for the first time, from the beginning, then discussing with my wife Abbie and our friend Nate. This week, we will be discussing The Child, Where Silence Has Lease, and Elementary, Dear Data. We start this week with some bar trivia about Star Wars A New Hope and Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan. Play along and see if you can beat our score of 71. Now, make it so. He's just afraid that we're going to have to talk about the things that he said when we were at dinner. And I have not gone into those with Nate yet, other than to tell him there are things that were said
Because
that
you
will
prompted
need.
me on a specific question to ask him, which now I can't ask because he. Well,
So,
I
bef-
also am just disappointed because this would be a good episode for him to show up
yeah.
because he likes to give everything 9 or 10, and I'd really love to hear how he, in particular, about season 2, episode 1.
how that one's a 10?
Yeah, I'd love to
Yeah.
hear that
All right.
rationale, but
So before we get into the Star Trek stuff, I have the trivia from the bar
oh god,
where Abbie and
I
I
forgot we were
scored.
doing this.
Yep. Abbie and we scored 71 points and took third place. I got one wrong. Abbie said, I think it's this, and I second guessed it and guessed it wrong, which would have given us 76 points. Still good enough for third place, so no net change, but Abbie has already brought up a number of times, this is where I would have said blah. And don't say
And
it
it was
because
a
Nate
really
might
it
get
was
that
a
one
really
wrong.
in-depth Star Wars question.
It
I
was.
was like,
But we'll get there.
Abby, I
So,
think you can get about 12 months out of that, by the way.
oh God,
Remember the
I've got
time I was
another.
right at bar
God,
trivia?
I hope you get
I'm
it
taking
wrong.
20 years
Oh,
And
on
and
this.
I'm rooting for you getting less than 71
I
points.
have no confidence in myself because Star Wars
So,
trivia is not my strength. So we'll
yeah.
see if I can make that up on the Star Trek part of
Yep.
it. But I
So,
have no high hopes here.
each round has 30 questions, 5 from Wrath of Khan, 5 from A New Hope.
Okay.
Round 1, each question is worth 1 point.
Okay.
Round 2, each question is worth 2 points. Round 3, each is worth 5.
Okay.
So, total, I mean, we did pretty well. We got 71 out of 80 possible.
Okay.
So, um, yeah. Uh, okay, I guess I don't, maybe I'm counting wrong, but, because yeah, they said first place got 83. So I don't know where there's a, oh, they did have a couple that had like extra credit.
Okay.
So, round 1,
Yeah.
Space the Final Frontier. That monologue in Wrath of Khan was narrated by whom?
Leonard Nimoy. Are you going to tell me when I get them
One
right or wrong?
point.
Okay. Thank
All right.
God.
For helping the rebellion, Princess Leia awards medals to whom?
Luke, Han, and Chewie.
That's what we guessed.
Okay.
Incorrect. Only Luke and Han.
Oh,
Chewie has the thing across
Yep.
him that's already
yeah. It's,
there.
oh,
We
that's a top one.
we guessed we also said Chewie. Who played Lieutenant Hikaru Sulu?
George Takei.
True or false? The Star Destroyer, the Devastator, at the beginning of the film is the flagship of Darth Vader.
True.
I didn't, that one bothered me and I overthought it because I was just like, well, the flagship is kind of the Super Star Destroyer, but that one's
Yeah.
not in A New Hope. That one's in The Empire Strikes Back. So
And I was debating that because I almost had the exact same thought process.
I
But
overthought it, got it wrong. Uh, what does Bones offer Kirk when Savick is taking the Enterprise out of dock?
I'm trying to remember. want to say his glasses, but that's not right.
What was the question again?
What does
was the question?
Bones offer Kirk when Savick is taking the Enterprise out of dock?
I don't remember.
I got this one right.
Okay, what's the answer?
Nope.
All right, so you're not even
I'm
gonna
saying
offer up
his
a guess.
I'm saying his glasses, but I don't think that's
Okay.
right.
Nope. Abbie, what is it?
A tranquilizer. He's like, do you need a tranquilizer? Because he keeps like standing up and sitting down or like grunting.
I'm thinking physically handing him something. So I just
Yep.
No, it was a joke.
She said sedative when we were there, and they said sedative or tranquilizer. They offered up as a correct answer.
okay.
True or no? What planet does Leia tell Tarkin that the rebel base is located on? This one's multiple choice unless you know the answer immediately,
I
which
don't. Give me
I
them
did.
the multiple choice.
A. Kessel, B. Yavin, C. Dantooine, D. Coruscant.
Dantooine.
Correct. True or false? Spock gave Kirk a book by William Shakespeare as a birthday present.
False. It wasn't William Shakespeare. I don't remember who it was, but it wasn't Shakespeare.
I would have probably guessed true, except for Abbie turned immediately and said, it was the best of times. It was the
Dang it.
worst of times. Okay. This one
I'm such a bigger nerd than both of y'all.
this next one I got wrong because I just remembered the wrong number. And then as soon as they said it, I was like, damn it, that's right. What is the docking bay number for the Millennium Falcon on Tatooine?
4.
Close, 94.
Oh, wow.
I said 47. So this is another multiple choice.
Yep.
A number of characters are killed during the Kobayashi Maru. Who was not one of them?
Yep.
Scotty, Uhura, Spock, or Bones?
Scotty.
All right.
Did I get that right?
Yeah,
I
because Scotty wasn't on the bridge.
Yep. That was a tough one.
How does Obi-Wan help Han, Luke, and Leia escape the Death Star?
Lowers the oh no, not lowers the shields. Turns off the tractor beam.
Ooh, nice. I got that one wrong because I said sacrifices himself.
I mean,
Also,
that's not wrong.
Not wrong. So that was one I would have held that one under protest, but yeah, turns off the tractor beam was verbatim what they said. So round one, you have 7 points, which
7
I
out of
think
how many?
10. I
Okay.
think we were at 7 or 8, so you're right on
I'll take a solid C.
pace.
Serious.
All right. So round two, 10 more questions, 2 points apiece.
Yep.
Who played Savick?
Kirstie Alley.
Yep.
I had to stop and think about which movie we were talking about because
Yep.
of the actors.
Another multiple choice. What type of mission do the rebels tell Vader they are on? A. Rescue. B. Diplomatic. C. Top secret. D. Spy.
Diplomatic.
How long have Khan and his followers been marooned on SETI Alpha 5?
Oh, not even a multiple choice either. 35 years.
15 years.
I couldn't remember. That 15 makes more sense.
Yep. This one is an unscramble, so I will just give you this one because I'm sure you would get it because it was a 6-word like catchphrase from the Star Wars movie.
Okay. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Okay, no, you wouldn't have guessed that.
Well,
May the force be with you.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna give you that. I'm gonna give
yeah.
you that one just because I didn't feel
words,
like I didn't feel like
letters.
typing it out.
That's fair.
This is one I will say I pulled this answer just out of my ass and totally got it right and fist pumped when they said it. Who directed Wrath of Khan?
Wasn't Leonard Nimoy, was it?
No,
Damn it. Wasn't
Nicholas
Chad.
Meyer.
Oh, I should have. Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know why I think it's this name, but I think it's this name. Nailed it. To cause a chain reaction that will destroy the Death Star, the rebels' plan is to fire torpedoes into what on the Death Star?
An exhaust tube.
Yep, close enough. Thermal exhaust port,
Sure.
but
We'll go.
same idea. Who said, "You know, he's not really dead, not as long as we remember him."
My God, who said that? McCoy.
Correct. Who directed Star Wars: A New Hope?
George Lucas.
Who is the first character seen in Wrath of Khan? Multiple choice. Sulu, Spock, Kirk, Saavik.
Spa.
Nice.
Oh, that was a tough one. That was a real tough one.
What is the name of the game R2 and Chewie are playing?
Oh God. I know what it is. Rip your arm off if you don't let him win. And it looks like chess, but I don't remember what it's called.
I think they gave the point for chess. I said holographic chess. It was
Yep.
I gave the point
actually
for it.
Dejaric, but since you said it's like chess, we'll give it to you.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I can picture the whole scene.
so you're at 23 points right now
Yep.
through 2. All right. When Spock told Kirk that auxiliary power could not be restored for 2 days, how long did he actually mean?
2 hours.
Abbie got that one right for the
Yep.
team.
Hours.
And then I quoted.
Or
That's
days.
exactly what I quoted.
Line is, yeah.
What kind of armor does Boba Fett wear?
Oh, wait. That's not from A New Hope.
It's not.
I think he is in the special edition.
He is.
Is he? Well, I mean,
Yep.
it's Beskar armor, but that do they
It's
even-
what?
But the name of the armor isn't listed in A New Hope. You're right. But you have to know what it is.
It's not Beskar armor. I mean, that's
Nope.
what it is in Mandalorian. Oh.
It's Mandalorian armor.
Oh,
Beskar
well,
is the more accurate answer, though.
yes,
But-
it is a more accurate answer.
They were looking for Mandalorian.
They should have given it to Beskar. I don't think
Okay.
anyone actually said that, though.
We'll give it to him.
Where is he in the special edition? Where, like, at what-
Probably-
Like he shows up after the Millennium Falcon takes off. He's at the.
When-
He's right there watching it
Probably
fly
in the
away.
docking bay.
chasing after Han Solo. Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's what the weird CGI Jabba and
Yeah, I can't stand it.
yeah, I think I blocked that out, to be honest. Okay.
When was Wrath of Khan released? A bonus point for the full date, not just the year.
Was it's 1983, I believe. I couldn't tell you the full date.
June 4th, 1982.
Damn it. Damn it.
This is multiple choice. What
Yeah.
does C-3PO tell Uncle Owen he did at his first job? A. Programmed binary load lifters. B. Worked with moisture evaporators. C. Interpreter. D. Worked in etiquette and protocol.
The moisture evaporators.
That's what I said.
It's not, and I will tell you why. Because
Yeah.
he goes, "Oh, I used to da, 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 da," which is just the same language as the moisture evaporators. Lars
Right.
has moisture evaporators. He says he
Yeah.
has no need for a protocol droid, and he says it's okay. My first job was ba 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 ba,
Programming binary load lifters.
which is just the
Okay.
same as doing da 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 da.
So I got that one wrong, but it made no net difference in our $20 gift card.
It made a difference.
Okay.
Is that the one we're arguing about? Is that the question?
Yep.
Yes.
She was like, I think it's A. And I was like, I think it's B. And I said B and was wrong. So this number 5, I'm just going to give you because it's another unscramble. This forward slogan from Star Trek.
Oh, live long and prosper.
Yeah, you would have gotten it by looking at it.
Yeah.
Who are the stormtroopers in Mos Eisley looking for?
Looking for droids. They're looking for R2D2 and C3PO.
Yep.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
I was gonna say I think the proper answer is not these droids. But yes, R2D2 and C3PO. Got that one. Which actor had no interest in being part of Wrath of Khan, but came back when promised a specific scene? Multiple choice. Shatner, Takei, Nimoy, or Doohan?
Nimoy.
Correct.
He wanted to die.
Yep. When the rebels are attacking the Death Star, what is Luke's call sign?
Oh. Red 4, I think?
Ooh, Red 5.
Ah, damn it.
What caused Spock's death?
Radiation from the warp core.
Yep. And who played Chewbacca?
Peter Mayhew. Why do I know that?
All right, so that's what, 7, right? So you did 7, 8, and 7. It's 23, 35, 58 points.
Yeah.
There you go. That was our trivia. We know more about Star Wars than you.
No, there's another round left.
Nope, it was just 3 rounds.
Okay.
So, yeah,
That's
that's
fun.
what we did a couple weeks ago instead of doing the podcast. I don't know if we'll include this one in this episode or not, but
yeah,
had to test your Star Wars, Star Trek
my Star Wars knowledge is not
nerdishness.
Awesome.
All right. Should we talk about some Star Trek here?
Let's do it.
Now that it's what, almost 9:45.
Yeah.
Okay. So
let me start because I want to shock everybody with my stuff.
Hold on. We're starting season 2 of Next Generation with episode 1, in which Deanna is impregnated by an unknown alien life form, and Dr. Catherine Pulaski joins the Enterprise as the ship's new chief medical officer in The Child.
And Abbie wants to start.
I want to start. This was the start of loving these characters for me. Like, I know the plot line on this one was tough for some people, and I know you guys probably hated it. But we're gonna start the season off well, guys, because I saw the future in it. I did call Greg, text him. Greg is here. I'm giving this one an 8.5, and here are my notes to myself at the very end of watching it. Okay, I said had good suspense, good acting in it. Okay, like they did a good job. You may have thought it was a stupid premise that this, she gets impregnated by a random alien. I get that's a stupid premise. I do. But put that aside and actually how they handled the scenario, it was great. I got to see her and Riker's relationship being really cool. Like just this, exactly what I expected to be, this awesome foreshadowing in that. And it's just this kindness there. It was so well done that way. You got to see like Marina Sirtis just nailed it with her acting on this one. Like she was so good and impassioned. I cried a little bit. Like I teared up. She thought her baby died. And maybe that's because I have kids now, so it means more. And I will say, Aaron said this episode was the first one we were watching. I was like, oh, that one was the first thing I said until I rewatched it. Now, as a mom, as someone who's got a little more skin in that game of I've got kids, I worry about them. You're vested in them in day one. You know what I mean? Like conceptually, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't care. Yeah, whatever. So they're yours. There's hormones, there's that. And then you've cared for them. You've put stuff into them and you love them instantly. I totally believe she would be upset about the loss of this.
Oh, absolutely.
Thing. And then
that didn't bother me about this episode.
And then there were so many things that I think I liked as well going forward into So much foreshadowing, like without saying much, earmuffs Aaron, but like poor Deanna. This lady is now how many, like, oh my God, this poor woman has had a rough go of it.
This is the beginning of all of that.
I know. And I'm like crying for Deanna at this point. I'm going, I can't imagine. Charity went through this once, and it was just too much for that. So yes. And then we have so many cool things, like so many changes right off the bat. We've got Geordi, all of a sudden our chief engineer. Love it. That's a great storyline. We've got a new doctor who I don't remember liking her, but I actually really liked her spunk. We've got bearded Riker. Come on. Like we needed the beard. We've got mature bearded Riker coming on. We needed that too. We've got 10 forward. We've got Wesley who's not in his ugly sweater anymore. I mean, we've got all good things happening, guys. This is the start of great things.
You skipped over the best part.
Tell me.
We have Guinan.
Well, I said 10 forward. She was a part of that.
But they're two different things, right? Interrelated, but you have Guinan.
Right. So they had some really, and there was only one line and I was like, that was the dumbest line in the thing. But the dialogue wasn't terrible in this. It was dialogue I would believe that would happen if we believe this scenario actually took place. All the dialogue makes sense to me. Their responses make sense to me. So Nick, quit scratching your neck like you're uncomfortable by what I'm saying.
No, I'm not uncomfortable. I think you'll find I agree with you more than I disagree with you. It's not an 8.5 episode, but
I liked it. I'm staying with my 8.5.
That's fair.
Get Greg on the phone. I need some support here.
Right. Do you want me to go, Aaron, or do you want
to go ahead?
Okay. I will concede that this episode was better than I remembered it being. I went into this going and earmuffs Aaron, but oh my God, it's one of the Troy gets raped episodes. Because it kind of is, right? I mean, let's be real. That's effectively what happened.
This will give away a little bit, but my first note there is Troy basically gets raped by space dust.
Yeah. And so I think that is really the biggest problem I have with this episode. And I think if they had changed the writing just a little bit of like, it had a conversation with me and said it wanted to experience what it was like to be humanoid or whatever. And I said, okay. And then suddenly it's far less problematical.
If it hadn't crawled up the bed, would that have changed it for you? So if it had like hovered over her belly and then dropped into her belly, is it the fact like it creeped up like that?
I think that would have been different.
Yeah.
So I do see that. And I was like, wait, this is like Star Wars. What's the one with like the weird like cockroach?
Evil Dead.
No,
Oh, no.
In the new one. Oh, not the new ones, but like the one with Anakin and Padme, and she, he uses her as bait, and she's laying in the bed, and the little like snake thing.
Those.
That's what it reminded me of, where it's like crawling under the covers at her. That's what my first thing I thought of. So yes, I get that. Nefarious for sure to start with, but
look, consent.
She tolerated it really well.
There was
consent.
No consent.
Star Trek doesn't have consent. We've discussed this.
Don't. So here's the thing. It was better than I thought it was. And I think if you take that aspect out of it, it's an interesting story. I still have a problem with that. I gave it a 5. I went into it ready to give it like a 2 or a 3. I really did. Like my knee-jerk reaction is like, this is a shit episode and I'm gonna hate everything about it. But I think I liked it because the story itself, that part removed, is actually really interesting. And for the same reasons that you listed of like, these are finally all the characters that I know, right? That are very, very like well established in my brain as who they are, and is part of where I feel like they've kind of hit the ground running, right? I'm still gonna stick by my 5. I don't think it deserves more than that. I think if they had changed this story some, I could have brought it up to a 6 or a 7. But this is a very, late 80s kind of, we don't really care about anything. We need a plot device and we're gonna roll with it. And that bugs me. Also, my hot take, which kind of goes along with yours, Abbie, is I have never hated Pulaski. as much as I like Dr. Crusher as a character, I think Pulaski's awesome. And I've always
She's
liked her as
really
a
good. I like her a lot. She's so
everyone hates on her. Like
which is so because
at a
Gates
Wesley
McFadden
like
is a different feel, right? So it's like it's a different way to do it. Gates McFadden was very emotional in her responses, right?
Mhm.
Which is a double-edged sword. You
Yep.
know, it's unfortunately that goes into like the whole discussion of women being too emotional kind of thing and issues with that and so on and so forth, right? But Pulaski is the antithesis of this. She is just so dry and just like on point, but
Yeah.
she's so good at her
I love
job.
it.
You're just like, I respect this woman. She is like no shit's given. I love that she's just intent forward and the captain's going to go in there and kick her ass. And then she's just like, have a
Yeah.
seat, sir.
I'm
Like,
doing my
don't even. She shuts him down in a
so
heartbeat. And I was like, that is a woman who knows what she's doing. And she adds such a great dynamic right off the bat of I'm gonna challenge data.
yeah.
I'm gonna challenge data. And I don't get it. I'm an old Karen, but I know what I'm talking about, so you can't
Yeah.
get mad at me for it.
The
She
Karen thing is
adds
a great point.
she adds such a great depth to that character right off the bat. She's not certain about technology, but she's really, really intelligent and knows her stuff, knows how to handle the hierarchy, but still knows how to handle her patients really well. That is a really well in-depth character. And I was just floored by how much I liked her this time. And I don't remember appreciating her because I think I was on the I miss Gates. You know, she was Crusher was the doctor, right? And so remember, I watched these originally out of order. I've never actually watched them start to finish in the right thing. So in
Right.
my brain, it's like, where the hell did Gates go? You know, why is this random chick here picking on Data? Poor guy. And
Yep.
now as an adult, I'm looking at it and I'm going, she's trying to understand and he's teaching her shit. And I love it. It was a wonderful interaction. It was so in depth and it's just this and it's a plot line you know is going to continue and it's so good. It's so subtle, but it's good. It sets up the whole series for a wonderful what do you call it, tangent, I guess. I don't know. It was good. I love it. I love it. And maybe that's why I don't care about. I do care. I do care. Please don't say I don't care about consent and rapiness. I do. Believe me. I score bad on all those. However, all
Abbie's
things
favorite.
being equal,
He's not.
they have so many positives with this one. These characters are so well developed in this episode.
Yeah.
So well developed. You've got Riker standing on the, you know, she's delivering this baby, right? You've got Riker standing there and just this whole flash of emotions going through Jonathan's face on this. I mean, I want to, you know, standing ovation to this guy acting this out because it's this like appalling first and then it's sad and then it's the, you know what? I don't care. I'm just proud of her because I care about her. And you know what? I'm going to support her. And it was all of that through a lean on a freaking doorway. Like, well done, sir. And just so good. It was just so well done. And then you got, think of Brent, and his wide eyes and quiet eyes, and then like just confusion and just, he just took that character so far as he's watching through this and he does his jibber jabber with her really fast. He's like, oh, will you explain this to me? I don't understand that. Blah, blah, blah. Data, not now. And
Yeah.
okay. Like just these people took their characters and they ran with them in a wonderful, wonderful way where
The
they weren't
show is
just
so amazing.
they were not just one-sided. It wasn't just this caricature almost. They made them depth. They gave them depth and it was
I
blown away
an
by these
interesting-
characters.
I have an interesting revelation that came to me just now. As we kind of fanboy fangirl over Pulaski and Aaron doesn't get to say anything at this point. Which
He
is
doesn't know how good they are yet.
can you name a single character up until this point, like a main cast character that's made that big of an impression that quickly in their debut?
No. In a positive way, no. Wesley in a negative way because he was rough.
Sure, but
in a positive way, no. No character with the amount of lines that she had was able to really. I didn't believe she was an actress. How about that as a way to say it? Like, I believe she was a character. And everybody else you believe was an actor trying to figure out their character to begin with.
Aaron, I could give you Riker, but I still think He did it better.
I was gonna say Riker just in the sense that I think I made a comment in Encounter at Farpoint that I wasn't sure off of that if they knew who they wanted the show to be about. If they
That's true.
wanted it to be
I
about
remember you saying-
Picard or if they wanted it to be about Riker because he came on and commanded every scene he was in
Yep. So
that first episode.
Abbie is not allowed to answer this because I think she already knows the answer. Do you recognize Pulaski, Aaron?
I'm sure you'll say something she's in and I'll recognize her, but
Yeah, I'm gonna
she
give
looks
you
familiar-ish.
I'm gonna give you the name of an episode and see if this jogs your memory. Is there in truth no beauty?
Which one was that?
The Medusans, you can't look at them without going crazy.
Okay. I remember not particularly caring for that episode, I think, or it just being okay.
Man, was that a season 2?
So she was in that one?
Yeah, she was the main guest character in that. She was the one that was courting the Medusan and was in love with it. She could wear the glasses to actually see it without going nuts because she's blind. Now I remember all the plot stories or plot points of it.
Gotcha.
Season 3, episode 5. You
Okay.
get 6.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So just FYI.
Nothing special, but just okay. All right.
Yeah. So and then I think she was in another original series episode. I just can't remember which one it was. But that's the one I remember her from.
Nice.
So we'll call back there. All right. We've rambled a lot and just completely gushed over what the
I could keep going. So Aaron needs to give his ranking because I'm going to keep gushing in a minute.
Yeah. All right, Aaron.
So what I've gathered so far is that I basically need to rewatch the series at some point and then I'll appreciate this episode because I thought this episode was bad. I gave it a 4. I went with the litmus test of is it worse than Code of Honor? No.
Yeah, I mean literally similar debate, right?
But I mean the conversation could be had, I felt. Let's talk about
it's not as effectual as Code of Honor. Tasha's gone.
Let's talk about we can't shit on Greg until he's here.
Oh,
and
we totally can.
I haven't even given Nate the complete context of what was said that Greg needs to account for.
I feel like we should go back this. This is get in the rewind way back machine and explain this conversation to Nate. Happened.
I'm supposed to ask Greg how he feels about Tasha.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't want to spoil
that. So we had a little impromptu in-person get-together in Atlanta and we started talking about the podcast and we started talking about specifically Tasha, and we know my feelings of Tasha. So maybe that's why I love this episode so much. There's no Tasha. But
this is the first episode of Tasha.
I don't know. But we were talking about that, and then we were talking about he was trying to defend her a little bit. And what did he say, Aaron? I'll let you say it better.
Said Tasha was effective.
To which that's the only word he got out of his mouth before we both jumped.
I don't know if he paused or if we were just so on top of it. We were just like, I'm sorry, what? It was horrible.
That is the one thing she was not. So now
then
anytime we talk about
Tasha,
we talk about
backtrack it, and we just did not let him have it. He was just like, no, that's not what I said. I was like, verbatim, what you said. Tasha was effective. And he was like, I meant as a character, not at her job.
I don't know if either of those statements.
I know.
Well, yeah, we're just like, no, that's what you said. So I don't even remember how we got there, but yeah, this was a bad episode.
It was effective.
I don't think it was even effective. The issues I've had with a number of episodes in season 1 came up pretty strong in this one. Now, again, my first note was that Troy basically got raped by space dust, which was super awkward and like not great. But at the same time, then she was like, uh, this is what's going on now. And cool, good for her. The whole pro-abortion discussion where Riker and Picard are basically saying, so she's going to abort the baby, right? And like having this conversation while she's sitting there, but not being really a part of the conversation was awkward as hell. And
Well, they put
again,
her.
was like, this is like so just
They put her way at the end of the table.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah.
She's
Okay.
separated
No,
from
she
the
put
entire-
herself there. Okay, I'm gonna defend
I'm not
this one.
saying Troy. I'm saying probably the director, the people.
No,
shooting the
okay, we're gonna
scene
pretend like this is where
placed her.
Troy sat. We're gonna play it like this is actual character's actual story, right? We're watching, not directing and acting. Okay. So yeah, she doesn't know what the hell's going on. She's distancing herself from her ex-boyfriend because yeah, I'm not gonna sit right next to him.
And yeah, Riker
So
was pissed.
he was so mad, right? So
He's like,
she
"Who the
already knew
fuck?"
she was I mean, she's going through a lot of thoughts. You're right. She was raped by space dust. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know how she
Yeah.
feels. That's fair, sitting at the end of the table like that, right? Now, here's what's really interesting is I also commented in my notes that it was terrible discussion and this abortion conversation. However, this is not the only time I have seen this discussion happen in a movie that is very, very popular. So females out there have all seen Twilight, and that is nearly verbatim what happened in the Twilight movies and book, where they're having discussions for her of how do we get this kid out of her? We didn't mean to put it in her. And so that is a very, I think, normal plot line on something like that. They weren't thinking of it as she wants to keep it.
Yeah.
They're all thinking in terms of how do we save her? I don't think it was malicious. I don't think it was
They didn't have
intentional
anything
like
to
that.
do with this.
I don't
She's
think
at
it
the
was
end of the
anything
table.
malicious. It
She's at
was
the end of the table, seemingly try to hide because she's like unhappy. Clearly, she doesn't look happy in there. So they're trying to problem solve it a horrific way. Okay, they're not doing it great. I'm just saying, like, I mean, look at her for a second. Like, my note was read the room, make eye contact with her, and you'd know you're saying the wrong things. However, that plot device did not bother me because I've seen that done in other movies.
Yeah.
And it's clearly a effective it's an effective form of conflict within a movie or show, and probably likely something that probably would happen in real life. Actual conversations have probably been had like that around people of, oh, you didn't mean to get pregnant? Okay, we'll fix this problem for you. Well, I didn't tell you that's what I wanted. But people make the assumptions trying to fix things without asking the questions of what do you want?
Well, and I'll even grant the conversation in the fact that they literally did not know what it was, what happened, how it got that developed that quickly, and could have posed a threat to the ship, which is also the concern of Picard and Riker. So it was still just
which is their jobs to say out, which is their jobs to evaluate. I hate to say it.
But that doesn't make necessarily that even if I can look at it and say, yes, this makes sense, it feels really weird, but can make sense of it, still doesn't necessarily mean it's a good episode or
you're also a spectator in a very intimate group conversation. Yeah, this is the writing room. They're in that conference room with a group of people who have worked together very intimately at this point, and they're supposed to be able to be 100% honest within that room without ramifications of that honesty.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was just awkward for them to be having that conversation when she was sitting there as though she was not sitting there. And that was really and I think it's supposed to be a jarring scene because they're having a jarring conversation in
it's supposed to make you
1988.
uncomfortable.
So
it's supposed to make you uncomfortable 100%.
In that sense, it was effective. Doesn't make for a good episode necessarily. That's not necessarily what made the episode bad. I think just overall the episode was not good.
Is it effective at plot? Is it effective at character development? Is the question then? Like, did it give these actors a wonderful chance to act in different realms, and B, different material in which to interact with each other than we normally see?
My feeling in watching that scene was it felt very different than anything we've watched in any Star Trek to this point. It felt like it felt like it was something going beyond the show. in how direct it was. It felt weird and didn't feel like other serious topics that they've covered. And it was, yeah, it was just a very, I'll say, even aggressive stance on things in the way they handled the conversation, which was just again awkward to watch. And I didn't feel that the way that conversation went, the way that dialogue went, I didn't feel added to the episode at all. It sure it emphasized the gravity of the situation to a point, but still, I just I don't know.
No, I mean,
Something
I don't know if I agree with
didn't
that.
feel great in that.
I think it served as the answer to the question of what is Deanna going to do with this.
Yeah.
I think it's effective in that regard, in the much the same way Tasha. No, just kidding. Or more effective than that.
That was effective. I think seeing how Deanna handled it was the positive part of that. Seeing essentially Riker and Picard saying abortion, 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 abortion. That was really weird.
That would never happen in real life.
I'm just saying that seemed weird, didn't really fit anything we've seen in that way in Star Trek to this point, and I don't feel that added to their character development or anything. Seeing Deanna coming through and saying like, I absolutely not, I'm keeping it. Oh, okay, that was great development for her, but that scene, I don't know, just the way it was done, I found just, I don't know, didn't love it.
I think I had to disagree that it wasn't effectual at showing the characters. I mean, you have literally different stereotypes being played out there. You got Worf, who's just like, well, we gotta kill it. It's obviously a threat, right? Which is exactly his job, right? He doesn't, he's not emotional like that. He's right is right, wrong is wrong, threat is threat, not threat is not threat, kind of thing. So that completely fits and helps him solidify his character as chief of security, right? Then you've got Riker, who's trying to literally get past, as you said already, he looked pissed.
He's still in love with her. It's very
he's still in love with her. We've had this like
jealousy reared its ugly.
Right. It was exactly it, Nate. We've got this jealousy ridden decision, but at the same time, he's looking at it not only from that perspective, but also as he is second in command in charge of keeping all these people safe on this ship. So he's having this dialogue, and he is, who knows, again, I stand by, I don't think he necessarily knew she wanted to keep it or get rid of it or what have you at this point, right? She hasn't said anything. Her body language is not great at the other end of the table. She looks sad. She looks violated, to be God honest. She looks violated at the end of that table. So he's probably trying, I still stand by, he's trying to help, but not doing it in the right way. Then that's character development to me.
Ruled that scene for those characters, and that
which we don't get to see a lot. I think that gave him an opportunity for amazing emotion. I think they did a great job at acting this out. Like, I didn't get pulled out of the scene. How about that? As far as a way to summarize it, I didn't think, oh, that's Jonathan, that's Marina, that's Patrick. I didn't see any of that. I saw the characters dealing with a scenario that was a shitty scenario. And I saw how humans would deal with it. And it fit within their characters and what I expect their characters to do. So I thought it fit. Now, did it fit Star Trek? I don't know how to answer that for you, because you and I have different perspectives on that, because I've seen more. Yeah. And so I've seen that spectrum more. But I get it's an awkward scenario. I'm not saying it wasn't awkward, but I do think that those are the kind of situations and scenarios that give the characters a chance to grow versus the, did we hail them yet? Nope. Let's solve this problem. Like Kirk and crew, it was always the, what is this exterior problem we have to fix, right? There was nothing really conflicting inside and internal they had to deal with, other than, is Spock human or not, right? These are like big overriding issues they have to handle with themselves and their own morality and stuff that they're touching base on it in this episode, which I thought was big.
Yeah, I just think they've done that better in other scenarios, and this one was just kind of like, I don't know, just the way they handled it, I thought wasn't as effective, at least as I watch it. But again, I did not think the episode was very good in general. I mean, there were some good points. I thought was it this one that at the end Wesley was trying to said that he wanted to stay on the Enterprise. I
Yep.
thought that whole scene was pretty good. And him saying he wants to stay there, and then them having the conversation that was really just kind of fucking with him about whether or not they
Yeah,
wanted to let him stay. I thought that was
it was fun.
fun. It was fun. I thought just the storyline was just weak.
I,
And it was another one where up until 5 minutes left in the episode, I was still sitting there thinking, okay, why? Like, why is this thing here? And it literally got one throwaway line
Mhm.
that it was something that could have been done more effectively, I think. Instead, they just give it the one throwaway line, and maybe this is another situation where who knows what they had to cut out for time and for flow of other stuff. But it was just like, okay, so okay, of course the kid is causing this surge that's allowing these things to grow and is putting everything else at risk. That's the only connection between the A and B storylines here, and that comes right at the end. They're just like, oh, it's him. He said it was him, and now he's gone, and
Yep.
now everything is fine. And then Troy has the line, he is a life force entity. When we passed each other in space, he was curious about us, so he decided the best way to learn was to go through the process, to be born, to live as one of us, and in that way to understand us. He never meant any harm. It's like, okay, and that could be a good
By the way,
explanation for it, but as just a throwaway thing, I thought it was just really weak. I
so
I thought,
I think they could have used that up front to
yeah,
explain why she was pregnant,
yeah,
take that part of it out, and I think my biggest beyond the Troy gets raped by space dust or however you phrase that, Aaron. I think my biggest problem with this episode was there were just too many plot threads
hmm
that they were trying to weave together, and so it felt very thin and felt very easily resolved. Like, oh, we have a problem. Oh, it's the kid. Oh, he's gonna die now. Okay, we're good,
yeah.
right? And
So
then a
it
little
was one where,
rearranging of the story could convey the same thing and make it much more interesting.
yeah, that's kind of where I fell with it, where it was just a lot of the episode for me just didn't work. It was close and it could have been really good, but it was one of those things where I think it- they could have reordered the information release on some of it, and maybe that would have made it better. But just overall, I just didn't care for the episode. Having the things that they're transporting and then dealing with, hey, one of them is doing this. It seemed like such a weak connection that they made to just say like, oh yeah, it's the kid, and now we can tie these two stories together. Which, I mean, those were issues that we had late in season one, where I said it seems like two stories that they just said, all right, we need 22 minutes, and we've got a 22-minute story here, and we've got a 22-minute story here, and
Well,
then we can just bullshit 1 minute to connect them. And that's kind of how this one felt. And
and
I
we know from
don't,
late season one that was all writer strike stuff. They were literally doing that, right?
yeah. And so I felt that that may have almost been a continuation here, where I think, I don't know if they tried to do too much or what, but for me it just didn't work. Um and again, maybe once I know the characters better, I'll come back and revisit it and just be like, oh yeah, this episode was mediocre, not bad. But yeah, I just did not care for it. It felt like such a, I get if you make the reveal too early, then the story's kind of over. But it felt like such a cop out explanation at the end that was so quick and just like, yep, it was him. He just wanted to understand us, so he didn't mean to cause any harm. Just like, okay, but in that sense, I don't see really any change in any of the characters. So it's not like they went through this and now they're different. It was the kid was like, oh man, sorry, I messed this up. I didn't mean to. Deuces, and took off. So there wasn't much development in that regard, I think, in terms of the characters changing. Now, you guys see some reveals of the characters earlier on in it, in just seeing things. But in terms of the thinking of the hero's journey, the trials and the tribulations that they were facing in this episode, none of them changed. None of them grew from it. It was just like, oh shit, that happened. And now
Yeah, I
everything's
really do
fine.
believe. Now, number one, your opinion and my opinion aren't that far apart, right? We rated these very closely.
Yeah.
But yes, I do see things in it that you don't see yet. And
Yep.
Abbie clearly sees those things, right? And I do think that that is because we have the benefit of knowing everything that comes afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way for us to block that out. It is already ingrained in us because we've watched these episodes so many times.
Right.
So,
and that's why I think this is fun, getting my perspective of having never seen this episode before or what comes next. So that's why I still enjoy these conversations, knowing that we're talking. And I don't even think you guys should be pretending that you're watching this in a vacuum, because you're not.
No.
You're on a rewatch and I'm on my first time through. So the experience is going to necessarily be different.
But I've never, I think where I see things differently now is I've always just watched the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm sitting down and watching and analyzing and understanding and doing, a deeper dive into them that I've never done before. So, and Abbie, I'm sure you feel the same way. So now I'm learning more because I'm looking at it through a different lens, right?
And there's a good chance that this was a more like, not to be like, I'm a girl, you're a boy, but there is a difference in stylistic things that different genders typically like. And so I liked it more because it was more of a female-centric role or female-centric episode, a lot more caring, compassion, that kind of stuff versus what's the bad guy we got to talk to right now? It was less of that reactivity like that. So, but I do think most of my approval of this episode was colored by just fantastic performances by these actors. So I wasn't pulled out of it at all, being like, oh, that was weird. Why didn't the directors do this differently? I think this is one of the first episodes of this series where I wasn't watching it critically. I was watching it because I enjoyed watching the characters. I could sit here and just watch it just because these are people I like watching. Like, I like these characters again. So versus things that would pull me out of the storyline for XYZ and be like, oh, that was kind of cringy or things like that, which you think I would have the cringiness because of the space, whatever. I get it. I think I had that to begin with. I had a note in here, even like, who sleeps in a ponytail? That's the weirdest outfit she's wearing to bed too. Like, I was like, that's a girl thing to think about, but like, seriously, who sleeps in a hair like that?
But I've never had a ponytail in my life.
So annoying. So like, I did have comments and notes like that. However, I was later on taken over by all the other things I got to see, like I said at the beginning, like a lot of the changes immediately from season 1 to season 2 that I loved. I loved the foreshadowing with Worf and Riker, like in that delivery room. Like, I don't know if Nate caught that, but it was like, holy Hannah, like either they knew that was coming already or they just happened that to be the case. But I was like, holy Hannah, that was a case too.
But I also don't think I want you to explain it and spoil it for Aaron.
Just presence. Enough said. But things like that. So I thought that was really interesting foreshadowing on that end of where those characters end up in general. And then, in this one, we got Pulaski introduction with a really strong introduction, which didn't have anything to do with this episode plot. I will fully concede to that. Like, that could have been any other plot going on. And if Pulaski had that kind of a role in it and those responses, it would have already boosted up for me just because Pulaski did a wonderful job. But I mean, this one really gave Deanna more than they're feeling like this, kind of thing. It gave her a chance to really show how strong she was. I mean,
absolutely.
She just gave birth to this kid, right? And then where really showed it to me was when she was, he's in there talking to him when he's like a toddler or whatever. And she full out flat says to the captain, he's not ready to tell you yet. He will one point. Like, I acknowledge the fact that there's a reason he's here. He knows why he's here. This isn't actually my kid in the standard definition of child. I'm aware of it, As soon as he can tell you, we'll tell you. I'm on the same page as you, Captain. Like she fully admits she's not delusional. And I was like, that's crazy. And then for me, seeing the foreshadowing with Troy, it's like that chick is one strong ass chick with all the stuff that she's got to go through.
So can we zoom in on that? Because I forgot about that scene for a second. What was unclear to me was obviously Ian knows why he's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Troy, to your point, says to Picard that when he's ready, he'll tell us. I got the feeling that Troy already knew, either because of going through the pregnancy or because Ian had told her. But did you guys, like, what was your perception? Did you feel like Troy knew but wasn't going to say, or do you feel like she was as in the dark as everyone else was?
I think she knew there was a reason, but she didn't know the specifics of the reason, but it wasn't nefarious, I think is what she thought. Like she can sense his intent. She can sense the curiosity probably and all that, but the actual details of it are what's missing, right? And she knew that he had an intention of telling is probably the case too, right? But he couldn't emotionally articulate quite yet or whatever is my takeaway on it. But she's still well aware that this is a discussion we're going to have. I am aware of it. It is coming. Captain, I'm right there with you. Give me time to get it out of him.
I think maybe it's left open for interpretation because my view of it was she knew, but she was respecting his wishes to kind of keep that secret for the time being.
Interesting.
Maybe if it had been something nefarious, it would have been a different story.
Right. Do you want to cover anything else, or do you want to rip through some trivia and move on to the next two?
Just the last thing I was gonna say. I know I mentioned it before. That last scene on the bridge where they were all just talking to Wesley, or basically talking about Wesley, so he could hear them. That was an awesome scene. It was great. I loved the way they were all in on it and involved. It was fun, and yeah, you could tell they were going to go for it, and Wesley could tell they were going to go for it, or so he thought. He still had that little bit of like,
he's still awkward teenager though.
He had that look like they're fucking with me.
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully.
But yeah, I thought that scene was great, and Riker's beard is awesome.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
Got it. So should we jump into some trivia?
Abbie said she has a question.
Okay, go for the question.
How many solid pips does it mean on a uniform?
So they're half ranks. So how many are you talking about?
So Pulaski is 3 solid pips. What is her rank? Is she higher rank than Crusher was?
She is commander with 3 pips. I don't remember. I believe Crusher was also commander, but I'd have to go back and look.
For some reason, Pulaski seemed like higher rank. Like she commanded herself in a way that seemed higher rank to me.
I'd have to go back and look at first season to see how many pips she had on her collar, but I think it was 3.
Okay. And I have the dumbest question in the world. So Troy's putting Ian to bed.
Mm-hmm.
She closes the window screen like an airplane, like the airplane thing where it pulls it down and it turns dark in the room. Now, stars are not that bright, right? We're not assuming that the stars are that bright, or is it because they're moving through them that makes it bright? Or are there lights on the outside of the Enterprise that we're assuming
down at the same time as the
I'm like, are we really closing the window to block the night?
We're going to night mode.
Guy,
does she see does she have the nacelles or whatever they're called outside the window?
That's what I was wondering. That's why I said it's like a stupid question. Like, because we know the outside of the ship is lit up, right? The underside of the saucer section has lights on it and so on.
Blueprints.
I want pull it up, the whole big thing. Where are the lights on this bad boy?
He's gonna be like, holy shit,
where are Troy's quarters on the blueprint? Open it up. Let's see this thing. Where is she?
Unfolded all.
What lights does she have?
That's so funny because we'll never remember this by the time we get there. Just wait till we get to lower decks. Because Anyway, I think it's just the lights are turning down at the same time as the shade is. And
it just seemed really stupid to me. I'm like, I don't remember ever closing my kids' curtains outside to make sure they can sleep because the stars are too bright.
Yeah. All right, so trivia.
Yeah.
I got a fun piece of trivia. That's not an IMDb, but
Ooh,
Eric led
fancy.
into it. So you both are aware of the phrase "jumping the shark," right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What is it from? It's from
Like
Happy
nuking the
Days.
fridge.
It's from Happy Days when
It's from Happy
when
Days. What
they
does it
made
mean?
them. It means it takes it past the point of believability, and it's a point past the point of no return for a show where they've just taken
Because
it too
in
far,
an
so it's unbelievable.
because in an episode of Happy Days, he water
He
skied,
did
jumped
over a
over
shark.
a shark.
Yep. And so it's kind of seen as that point where a show is no longer good and is in a downhill slide.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that there is a phrase for the opposite of that? For when a
It's got
show
to be
finally gets good?
Riker's beard.
It's called growing a beard. So when a
Yes.
show grows a beard, it means
No
it
way.
finally
Is
got
that based
good.
on Jonathan's
It is
thing?
based
Oh,
on this show.
I
That's
love
awesome.
it. I
Season
absolutely love
2,
it.
when he shows up and has a beard, and
So
it finally is, moves past a lot of that baggage of season 1. It's growing a beard.
Love it.
So that's
That's
one of my
There's
favorite.
and he grew up with the beard. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. It's not only the beard, but he acted more mature with that beard. I don't know if the beard brings power that I am not
Normally
privy
does.
to. You fully bearded men, tell me, do you feel more mature when you have it on? Do you feel are you all of a sudden
Especially
grown
when
up
it's still real
more than
gray.
Riker was? Riker
Yeah.
was more confident, he was more supportive, he was just I don't know what it is, man. The beard on Riker, he just stepped up his game. The beard, it's Samson. The beard was Samson on him. Just gave him the strength.
Yeah.
True.
All right. So the rest of the trivia on this, there's actually some good trivia here. So the episode marks the first appearance of Worf's silver baldric, which I forgot that this sash is called a baldric. And we talked about this in season 1, but his previous gold one was an old prop from the original series. And so they transitioned that into a new one for season 2 and beyond. This also marks him as now the official permanent security chief on the Enterprise, formally replacing Tasha. And she wore gold, so of course he would now wear gold.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Frakes, who plays Riker, returned to rehearsals at the start of the second season sporting a beard with the intention on shaving it off before shooting began, but the producers liked it and asked him to keep it.
Nice.
So there you go.
Wait, he grew it on and then they just kept him to keep it? It wasn't.
Yeah, it was just he grew it while they were on break, showed up, I'm going to shave it off, and they went, nah, keep that shit.
Awesome.
That is absolutely crazy.
This was Marina Sirtis's least favorite episode. Gee, I wonder why. This episode marks the first appearance of 10 Forward, which is a reorganization of sets. Promotions, Geordi rises from the rank of lieutenant junior grade to a full lieutenant, and is now chief engineer Geordi LaForge. And therefore switches also to the gold uniform. Marks the first appearances of Pulaski and Guinan. This is the first episode where Wesley Crusher wears a communicator. Did anyone catch that? He's never worn a communicator before.
He's old enough to have his own cell phone now. He's like a real big person. His mama had that conversation with him. You got to be respectful with your devices.
Absolutely. Let's see. Marina Sirtis's fake pregnancy stomach was mainly filled with birdseed. I guess you use what you got. We already talked about this, but Diana Muldaur, who plays Pulaski, made 2 previous guest appearances on Star Trek. Dr. Pulaski pronounces Data's name as Data instead of the proper Data, to which Data corrects her. Prior to the debut of the series pilot, Data's name was originally supposed to be pronounced Data before it was changed to the current format. Other such original character traits prior to the changes include Captain Picard's first name to be Julian, Riker's name to be spelled Ryker, and Wesley Crusher was to be Leslie Crusher, Dr. Crusher's daughter. Let's see. The helm and navigator stations have removed the recline chairs for more upright posture, which now that I think about it, I see. Because in the first season, they're like laying on their backs, basically. When Dr. Pulaski asks what could emit Eichner radiation, data suggests certain cyanoacrylates. Did anyone catch that? Probably not. Cyanoacrylates are basically super glue. I caught that. CA glue. I use it for things. Yeah, that's basically it. That's the good stuff. Should we cruise through some other episodes since it's your time?
I've got one question, see if you guys can catch it.
Yep.
What was the name of the ship that Pulaski came off of?
Nate.
Yep.
Victory.
Nope.
No? What?
Oh, you're right. Wasn't she with Picard on the Stargazer?
What ship left them? What ship did they leave?
Oh no, I know what it is.
At the beginning of the episode. How about that? I believe she came from it, but
and then I know what it is.
It's such a random, I don't know if I would be okay with this name for my starship.
Aaron,
he looks like he has no idea.
Defiant. I don't know.
No.
Defiant. Are we bringing up DS9 references already? Ew.
I have no idea.
That's the original series reference. Not there yet. It's the
what is it, Nate? What's the answer?
Repulse.
The Repulse. And I was like, that is a weird ass name for a starship. Like, your ship repulses me. Ugh. Anyway.
Okay. What's the next one? Where Silence Has Lease?
All right, Where Silence Has Lease. See, the Enterprise encounters a mysterious void in space, and when they move in closer to investigate further, it envelops them and they can't get out. Episode 2, Where Silence Has Lease.
I can't remember why I wrote this because I don't. Oh, I know why. Because they were on the holodeck. My literal first line of notes for this episode is Aaron's next Halloween costume. The guy
Which
with
one?
The skull.
Oh, the guy they were fighting.
Oh. Yeah. I need to remember why I wrote that, but now I remember because it's Riker and Worf on the holodeck doing his calisthenics program.
Yeah. On calisthenic exercises, which were not as rigorous as his normal ones.
I don't know. Do you want me to start?
Sure.
I actually, this is one of the episodes that I kind of enjoy. Like, it's a good mystery. It's a good kind of a cat and mouse episode between the crew and a theoretically superior, entity. Which reminds me, I don't know, obviously, or maybe not obviously, isn't Q, but kind of reminds me of Q in kind of the antics and things like that. Like, he's toying with them and doing different things, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some novel or comic book somewhere that says that the Gilliam is Q or is from the Q continuum or something like that. They just never realized it. But beyond that, I mean, I think it was a really interesting episode. I think it was kind of fun to watch. I think they did a generally good job with it. So I gave it a 7.
Interesting.
Oh God.
I thought it was great. I gave it an 8. I thought it was a fun episode. I thought it was philosophical. I thought it had the hero's journey in it. You got Picard being basically examined by this thing and kind of growing from it, learning a bit about himself and what he can take from it. And it's interesting. It's funny to compare this with that shitty episode from season 1 with the hippies and how they're no, not I think I'm confusing the original series episode, But
The music on
the
that episode of the hippies.
yeah, that was terrible. But the episode from season one with the people, I think the last episode of season one with the people who were dead and came back, or the people from the 20th century, and they were talking about like how primitive they were, and then
Right.
having something basically having that same commentary on Picard and the crew and how like primitive they are, and then seeing Picard kind of take some of that I thought was interesting with again that hero's journey trope of them going through something and then growing from it. Yeah, I thought there was high tension just throughout the episode, figuring out, and a good mystery of figuring out what the hell is going on. And while Ian in the last episode wanted to understand humanity, I thought this was a better exploration of humanity
Yeah,
and what they all of that. I thought the episode flew by and was pretty much captivating the entire time. So I really enjoyed it. And then The Void reminded me of, I think, book 3 of The Expanse, where they went through this wormhole and then they were in this
yeah, to the
weird,
gates.
yeah, just in this weird zone where there was nothing and everything. And like just them figuring that out, that it made me think of that. Yeah, just there were some good lines in it. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the episode.
I loved Worf. I mean, this makes me laugh because it also doesn't honestly, it contradicts itself. But when they're on the Yamato and he's getting really frustrated, a ship has one bridge, and he's mad about it. Like, yeah, but the ship you serve on, which is the same class as the Yamato, also has more than one bridge on it, technically. The battle bridge
Yeah.
counts, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought there were some great lines in there. When Data says, "I have a question, sir." "Yes, Data, what is it?" "What is death?"
Yeah.
Oh, is that all?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Data, you're asking probably the most difficult of all questions. And then again, it's like this was of course I loved this episode. There was so much philosophical to it, deeper discussion, and I thought it was well executed and entertaining at the same time. Where other episodes maybe execute things okay, but maybe it's not so entertaining. And this one kind of hit all those marks, and I thought it was really, really good.
Agreed.
And here Picard was going to blow up the ship instead of giving it to somebody.
For once.
Tasha
I mean,
wasn't
it has
there. It's always when Tasha messes up that he tries to give the ship away.
But Tasha is effective.
Yeah, about giving the ship away. Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So I'm with Nate. I give it a 7. And what's really interesting is your score tracks with exactly what I would say you would give it, because one of my notes was felt like original series episode, Kirk style fights, and we're back to kind of that season 1 style interactions, right? They're not very deep. The characters aren't being driven and growing. It's just we just got dropped into the middle of a scenario and they're just living out what they would do, and then we're pulled back out afterwards. There's nothing in depth for me on it. I thought we backslid.
It's funny that I took the exact opposite
Yeah.
view of that, because I thought there was growth. I thought there was actual character development, not they're just revealing more to the viewers, but Picard was basically having conversations with this thing as it's examining humanity and examining him, and he's growing and learning from it.
So that isn't a new thing, though. Nate nailed it on the head for me. It's Q, but it's not just Q that we've seen before. It's a bad reenactment. It's a worse version of Q that we've already had. So but it seems like it. It's the same concept, right? We've got a third party entity that all of a sudden wants to beat us over the head as an audience that humanity sucks, right? And they're bashing this concept in, and we have Picard once again having to defend that entire civilization or entire whatever saying, no, we're actually pretty good too. So we've had that entire plot line before. That's not a new thing. That's a reoccurring plot to me. It was a redo. Okay. And this entire thing did take place in almost a bottleneck episode. It's the, on the bridge, on the, empty hallways. And I'll give it that it was creepy hallways. I mean, and they have some great episodes like that where I really enjoy the creepy hallways of the Enterprise. I think that's really nifty. I find some of the dialogue troublesome where it's just like, oh, that's our sister ship. The Yama, it's almost like they had to say it out loud for our benefit, not for it wasn't a good phrasing of the line. And so that pulled me out for a second. I was like, that was awkward how we said that. That'd be like, oh, it's my sister, Sydney. She's here to help us. It's weird how it was phrased. And then I didn't like some of the backsliding of some of these characters. I feel like Worf took on some Tasha qualities where he's all of a sudden just very emotional. He's not thinking before he's talking, before he's acting. He's just being rash and crazy. And I'm like, that is so
Yeah, I was going to challenge that because that is Worf. Worf is more emotion than anything else.
But he learned it. I don't know, man. He hasn't been like that kind of crazy.
Yeah, he hasn't any
historically
time either. I mean, he's a background character up until the end of season 1.
Listen.
I agree with everything
he was channeling his dead friend in this episode, and it bothered me. Okay, I saw Tasha, and then I didn't care about the villain, and that's the thing, right? I should care. I should have really cared that he was going to blow up the ship, right? And we're gonna not see these people anymore. I should have cared about that. I didn't care. I didn't worry it was going to happen because the villain, to quote somebody I read online, they said it perfectly, was looked like a mentally disabled Internet Explorer icon. It's like, yep, so that is kind of what it looked like. So Nate's dying and laughing over here.
I will say the villain, when it showed up, I had looked away for a second.
Hold on. I think we need to wait for Nate to start breathing again.
All right, I gotta stop. Okay, continue.
So whatever Reddit person said that, thank you. That was a fantastic comment because that's exactly what he looks like. So the villain wasn't, I don't know. It's just another one of those douchebag aliens to me, I guess. I mean, we've had enough of those where it's like we're aware that there's douchebags in the universe. How about
Are
like
you
that?
Sure we're giving this a 7? You're talking like it should be a 6 or a 5. I just throw that out there.
Because it wasn't that bad, right? It didn't bother me watching it, but I don't think it was great either. I mean, I would put it on and be happy to rewatch it, and maybe I'd find more things I liked about it. But these are things that pulled me out, right? Were these specific things. Redemption was obviously Picard's death scene, whole dialogue there. I mean, and that's exactly what I'd expect from Picard. And he did a fantastic job talking about it. He did a fantastic job recognizing that they weren't actually his people in there, all of that. I mean, wonderful scene. I'm really glad that was in there. That was a big redemption moment for me. But I didn't need another Q, and I didn't need another just random unsolicited alien just trying to kill them that we can't stop from killing them, right? It's kind of the same concept as Kirk would do it. This one's a very old original episode for me. We had the Kirk style fighting in the beginning with Riker and that. And if you even watched the actual moves they did, it was slow motion, just like in the old school episodes. Very, very reminiscent of that. And then
I did find myself wondering, how effective is it to take your hands like this and smash 2 hands down on someone's back?
It's running at someone with your leg up in the air. So
I've
you can
never
flip them
seen
over
that
you
in the UFC.
slowly.
But maybe they're all just missing something.
It is the 24th century. Maybe they learned something that we don't know now.
There's like a pressure point back there. We're going, it's like Serenity, right? Where if you touch the hip or whatever, or the neck, the nerves in the neck just right, then you can't move and you're paralyzed.
Yep.
Little extra nerd into this episode for those who haven't watched Firefly and Serenity.
And you should.
Absolutely, you should.
I forgot what I was going to say.
And we mustn't forget how convenient it was that our dear Wesley happened to be on a potty break the moment that Internet Explorer decided to randomly kill someone.
Yep.
Because that would have been tragic if it was Wesley. But Wesley wasn't wearing a red uniform, so it wouldn't have happened. What?
Was he in this episode at all?
Yeah, he was on before it. He was the one who's like, I think we can get closer, sir.
Oh, that's
And he's like,
right.
sure, let's get closer. And then
And-
as soon as he got closer and they got absorbed, Wesley's like, I think I gotta
I'm
go
out.
potty. I'm out. I
And
kind of
then
got it stuck in this black hole.
Random
Bye.
ensign who tries to tell Picard how to do his job ends up getting killed.
Yeah, poor dude. I will say he did a good job acting it though. Like that dude was convincing us he died in the fetal position. I felt kind of bad for him.
He was pretty insolent leading up to it. I kind of felt like he deserved it.
That's harsh. Remind me not to get on your bad side, because I died raging
He was
agony.
basically telling Picard how to do his job.
I mean,
He was
maybe he has experience that we didn't know about. Maybe he's undercover.
an undercover ensign. Okay,
He's undercover boss. Yeah, that show continues all the way through. He's an admiral. We just killed off an admiral. He should have picked a different color uniform for sure for the job.
Well, this episode just took a turn.
Yeah, that's all I have. I didn't take a lot of notes on this one. I did a little bit of homework on it with other people's thoughts as well, because I'm like, I didn't, my notes were the bottleneck, like I said, original series, that kind of stuff. But it's interesting looking online other people's comments. It seems to be kind of split. Some people absolutely love this episode, and some people absolutely hated it. It's one or the other. And it seems to honestly be whoever got into the boat of this feels like a Q episode we don't like, or Q did better episodes, or this is fantastic to show the desperation of being trapped and being in a void. And I don't think I go to the void side of it because I've seen a better void episode in a different series. So I feel like that was done better somewhere else. So I'm comparing it to that potentially. I don't know.
I like to find these little things clearly at this point where it's like, yeah, but did this happen? So here's my fun little food for thought for this episode. Did Nagilum actually let them leave the void? Or
I thought about that. Or are they still in it for all
I know
times?
that they're out of it. It's clear that he can manipulate reality in any way he wants.
It's the same kind of question of is this still part of a Telosian illusion?
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Are we still in a goldfish? That's a thing like all of us think about all the time, right? And it's like, is the Matrix real kind of thing? So it's just a philosophical question that we all go like, someone just looking down at us and like shaking the anthill every once in a while just for the heck of it.
Puppet master that's just like,
yeah, exactly. So it's same concept. So that's where I feel like it was so obvious, right? Because that's a concept that we all think about all the time anyways, or most people I want to say do. And so calling it out so directly and then winning against, for lack of a better term, winning against that entity, deity, whatever you want to call it, is such a unbelievable answer for me. I'm like, no. Most scientists actually terminate all of their specimens afterwards, by the way. They don't let those rats run free after. So I struggled with why an entity who is willing to just kill something to kill it would let it go. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I know Picard tried to ask him, well, why did you let us go? You could have kept us. And he's like, well, I have no point in keeping you here.
I've learned all I needed to know.
But that's not how science works, kind of thing. And he clearly doesn't understand the value still of life and all that kind of jazz. So it's no skin off his bones. You know what I mean? So it's weird. It was weird. It was a weird way to do it. It was such a wishy-washy answer to be like, well, I just don't need you anymore. Well, I don't know. I found it unbelievable.
Yeah, I laugh at Riker and how he does his part in disabling the self-destruct.
Yeah.
The computer.
Yes.
First officer.
Yes, of course. Yes.
A simple.
Absolutely. I do indeed concur wholeheartedly.
But I like that Picard called him out on that
yes
too.
Would have sufficed, number one.
Yeah, like I wanted to make sure there was no confusion here. So
every time somebody says something like somebody had the line, he's gone, I was like, oh, it's a he's dead, Jim.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess kind of looking at the transcript again here, I really did I like these episodes that are an exploration of humanity. Same reason I kind of like the was it Skin of Evil, the one where Tasha died.
Yep.
I didn't hate that villain in there because I thought it was an interesting discussion on like just an exploration of humanity. And I thought that that's what this episode was a lot of, and really summed up at the end, um, where where he Nagilum says like, "Do you want to know what I learned about you?" And Picard's just like, "I'm not interested. Like, I don't care." And he's just like, "Bullshit. Yeah, you do." He's just like, "You're way too." He says, "Of." Picard says, "I'm not interested," and Nagilum says, "Of course you are. You are too inquisitive not to want to know." And then rattles off all the stuff. Says some positive things though, about humanity, but then saying like, we don't have any common ground here because you're still too aggressive, too hostile, too militant, which again I find is that funny juxtaposition because that's essentially how they were talking a few episodes ago about the 20th century and
Right.
how they're so evolved and beyond that. I find that just compelling. But then one of the traits I often go to, and I've said it so many times, that I think is one of the most important traits people can have, is exactly what Picard says they both had, and what they have in common is curiosity. And so I like the way that all ties together. Was it a perfect episode? No, but yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was entertaining. Uh, Fully captivating, had some fun dialogue. The long, yes, absolutely, I do indeed concur wholeheartedly. That kind of stuff. It was fun. It was an episode I enjoyed watching. So,
So I
yeah.
think there's only two pieces of trivia for this episode worth talking about.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of trivia for it in general, which I think is interesting. So the first one is Picard says that the Enterprise is trapped in the void like a fly in amber in one of his log entries. Q said something similar in the episode Hide and Q.
Hmm.
So again, we go back to the is Nagil and Q or part of the Q continuum? Maybe. And then it says Haskell, who briefly fills in at the navigation station, is the only crew member killed by Nagilum, and in classic fashion, he wears a red uniform.
So the last thing I would say here, I had I was watching this on my phone and I glanced away and I glanced back at the first time they showed Nagilum, or I saw it out of the corner of my eye. And the look, like the way the image looked, and just seeing it just out of the corner of my eye, I was like, did this turn into cat's paw? And then I quickly realized no, but I was like, what the hell is that?
Sure.
So,
November 20th. So it's not a Halloween episode, but you never know.
so yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's
One more?
see. How are we doing for time? All right, we're getting late. But want to do the next one?
I'm game if you guys are.
All right. An attempt to provide data with a challenging Sherlock Holmes holodeck program backfires when its Professor Moriarty character accidentally becomes self-aware in season 2, episode 3, Elementary, Dear Data.
Well, I think Aaron gets to go first this time.
I enjoyed this one. I gave it a 7. I thought it was good. I didn't enjoy it quite as much as the last episode, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was fun. There was there were some good lines in it. I liked Geordi basically like saying, "Hey, let's go do this," and then when Data just rattled everything off, Geordi was like, "This sucks. I'm gonna leave," and trying to explain those things to Data, like, "Here's why this isn't fun." Well, I found the answer. But finding the answer is what's fun. Well, I
Right.
knew the answer. Right. And that's why this sucked.
It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
And then it's still like really similar to conversations that are had about AI today. We look at something like ChatGPT, which can recite information. It can even piece together information, but is ChatGPT creating anything? I would say no at this point. Even though it can recite the stuff, there's something more to it. So I thought it was just fascinating that, what is it, 36 years removed, we're still having similar conversations regarding AI and what is creative potential and things like that, and what does any of that mean? At what point is something then sentient or alive? And how just because you can recite facts doesn't mean you actually know anything.
Yep. Is that not a great
So,
analogy for AI today?
yeah,
I
it
mean,
really is.
it's funny watching these episodes as we go through this kind of latest, and we've said this before, but this, latest generation of artificial intelligence and machine learning that, people are super worried about its ability to, either eliminate jobs or take over humanity or whatever. And um, you know, this is a completely different discussion on a completely different level, but it's still similar. Like, is the ability to connect facts and come to a conclusion an innate trait of something that's alive? Maybe, maybe not.
Or is there more to it than it? Just because you can recite something doesn't mean you understand it.
Right.
And a search engine or ChatGPT can recite a lot, doesn't mean it understands anything.
Yep.
Are we calling data Chat GPT? Is that where this conversation went?
No, I'm saying more in terms of the holodeck and the Professor Moriarty, or just
But isn't
the
that what Pulaski's
holodeck
calling
program.
data? Is kind of
Little bit.
comparing him to a Chat
Basically,
GPT?
Or she's
a walking
questioning it at the
library,
very least. Yeah.
right? He's
So
a
yeah,
walking
I think
library that can connect things together.
it continues that conversation of, is data human or not? Is not human, is data alive? And all of that, because yeah, he could answer all of the mysteries because he'd read them all, but that doesn't mean he understood it.
Yep.
I did like this episode had one of the first big blunders for Geordi in his new role. So Geordi's got crazy system access.
Mm-hmm.
And he says one word wrong, but because he's got such system access, it has a big old impact. That was crazy to me, that it's not firewalled off like that. It's all included.
Well,
Yeah.
they didn't get. I got the impression that anyone could have given that command and gotten a similar outcome, and that in itself is a problem. It was just more of a like, hey, you can't just remix existing Sherlock Holmes stories. Like, you have to create something in the vein of Sherlock Holmes that would be a challenge for a walking supercomputer. And somehow magically that spawned a consciousness. Which we can debate whether that's realistic or not, but
or let's maybe set some parameters where the holodeck doesn't have access to the rest of the ship by nature.
yeah.
I mean,
It's
again,
good
one of those like reoccurring concepts of like lock down the turbo lift so random strangers can't get onto your bridge. Maybe turn off the holodeck so it can't access, life support. Just saying. I mean, like, it seems like common sense stuff, right?
It's good to know, though, that in the 24th century, people still can't code for shit.
Yeah.
Are they using, what do you call it, Aaron? Are they using what's the system you absolutely
Clearly
despise?
developed with Agile.
Agile, there you go. Clearly agile.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
God, the amount of times I hear him and his bestie talk about agile.
What are the ratings you guys give this episode?
I give it a 7.
I give it a 7 as well.
All right,
Wow,
we all
look at
agreed.
us.
Actually, no, I get that one higher. I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong thing. I give this one a 7.5. I give it higher than the previous one because it was still well planned out. Like it was kind of a weak storyline as far as like I don't like that they're just a holodeck episode. I don't love that kind of thing about it.
And
But
they're very divisive. You either like them or you don't really like them.
me or in
In
general?
general, not
Oh,
not
okay.
not you specifically, but in general, people like holodeck episodes or don't like holodeck episodes. There's not a lot of
So right. And I don't think so. My actual notes are on here. I don't have many notes, is what I wrote. I was like, I was just enjoying watching the show. And that kind of goes back to what I said on the previous episode, where it's like we're getting to a stage where it's just they're just enjoyable as episodes without like critique. I pointed out to myself that I like the costumes. They did a great job on that. For example, Worf in his suit, great. The dialogue along that was fun too. We got to see some great captain leadership on it. And then we get to touch base a little bit with, again, that Pulaski Data um, controversy of what is life? Is it, what constitutes life? Like you're talking about, what is just Chat GPT eventually going to take over the world? Is it actually going to be a life form? Or are we going to live in the Matrix eventually? I don't know. I don't know. Is Starlink going to kill us all? So these are, it's kind of interesting, but it's just like a sampling, right? It wasn't super duper heavy. And yes, I know it's foreshadowing and I remember that, but other than showing off really cool costumes, I feel like that was the value of this one. It was flashy. It was like, look at this scenic place we're going, not necessarily a deep content other than what you guys already discussed regarding, what causes true intelligence versus repetition or regurgitation. So it's just there wasn't a lot for me to digest on this one. Was it what did I enjoy watching it? Sure. Yeah, I did. I thought it was fun. I like the costumes. I like Pulaski's interactions. I thought their casting for Moriarty was great. I like Sherlock Holmes, so I found those storylines great. Uh, Geordie's angst with Data for not getting it when he was trying to explain, that was well done. But otherwise, I didn't think it had like a ton of meat, honestly, which is at least not. I don't want to say a lot of meat because they have obviously the conversation of can Data is alive or can he learn, that kind of thing. But I think there's more effective episodes for that. Make sense?
yeah, I think it makes sense. I think I don't know. I even though I gave the same rating as you did, I think I liked the episode more than you did.
I think she bumped her rating up to a 7.5, so she
I
rated this
did
one the
actually
highest, and I think we
and
both enjoyed it more than she
and
did.
she's shitting all over it.
I'm not
I don't
shitting on it. That's just it. Like I'm critiquing it as instructed to do for this. Like I said in the both of these previous episodes, I could watch them without critiquing it. I'd be fine. I would be happy to watch it and enjoy it for the characters that are involved. Does the storyline fascinate me? No, it's not a storyline that particularly makes me interested to be like, cool, I want to see this go down further. I want to watch a sequel to this episode. That's not what I'm seeing. So I don't have a lot to say about it because I just don't. I mean,
see.
Spiner did an amazing job as Data in this episode. Like he did a fantastic job. Like I said, the actual costumes on this and that environment on there were awesome. Picard, of course, stepped up and looked amazing with the top hat. And I loved his little motion with the cane where he like tapped his top hat and it popped out. I was like, yes, sir. Thank you for that little action. Like there were just little things on this and that were just enjoyable to watch that weren't necessarily directly related to the immediate plot line. Like some of the episodes are built on the plot, right? Where it's like, this is a plot, this is the story. This one is built on subtleties, and I like that about it.
I think I don't. I mean, I don't know that I necessarily disagree with you. No, it still feels like you dislike this episode more than Aaron and I did, despite giving it a higher
Why
rating.
are y'all
Which is
shitting
so
on
weird to
me?
me, and I
We're
can't
not.
reconcile that. But I think Aaron agrees with me, so I'm just gonna roll with it. I think at the end of the day, I tend to really enjoy the episodes that explore the humanity of Data. And this
True.
is an episode that explored the humanity of Data. And is he more
Or in
computer?
a sense, lack thereof.
Or yeah. Um, but also took that in a more abstract direction by talking about the humanity or lack thereof of Moriarty, right? And so it's kind of like two halves of the same coin. You have Data, who you can argue pretty well is 100% good, right? We really haven't seen anything to contradict that. And then you have Moriarty, who you could argue pretty well is 100% or close to 100% bad. But it's two sides of the same coin. Like they're exploring their aliveness, for lack of a better term. And I think that's what makes this episode really interesting.
I had a few lines in the episode that I really enjoyed too. Like at the very beginning, when Geordi's working on the ship model and explains to tries explaining to Data like why wind and sail fascinates him when he works with antimatter power and dilithium regulators, as Data reminds him.
Yep.
And he says, that's exactly why this fascinates me, Data. You see, it's human nature to love what we don't have. Simpler days, huh? And kind of goes through it and says the whole point in doing something like this is to make it by hand. And I fully appreciate that. Like, I've got a ton of power tools, and still one of my favorite things I've ever made was the baby gate that I made for the top of our stairs when Danny was a baby. And I hand cut mortise and tenons to build this gate.
Yep.
And there's something about like working with your hands that I think that is
It's amazing.
something that transcends time.
Yeah.
And I like that comes up in here. I did love the like I loved when Geordi was, it just seemed like genuinely pissed off at Data. Like, you're ruining this. You don't get the point of what we're trying to do. And Data's just like, oh, so I should have just slowed down. And she's just like, no, you don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
Like, the point is to experience the mystery and solving the mystery. And I like how he said, the first time someone opens their mouth, you've got it solved. So there's really no mystery. If there's no mystery, there's no game. No game, no fun. And then he says, I'm not upset with you, Data, really. It's just that we go through all this. So he's like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just pissed. Like, we did all this shit and you just, it's already over.
Yeah.
But then I liked what Pulaski said as they're trying, like, Geordi's still trying to explain it to Data, and Pulaski's just like, he's like, why are you still trying to explain it to him? He's never going to understand this. And clearly she does not view Data as alive.
Well, he even
Was it
even
this
says
episode?
that
Was it this episode or
previous
the
episode.
previous one where she was just like, well, your file says you're alive.
So I
And she
have to
says it
accept that.
so dismissively.
Yeah. That was the last episode.
But I loved her line here where she said, to feel the thrill of victory, there has to be the possibility of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the victory winning a battle you can't possibly lose? And then Data says, are you suggesting there's some value in losing? And she says, yes. Yes, that's the great teacher. We humans learn more often from a failure or a mistake than we do from an easy success. But
Yep.
not you. You learn by rote. To you, all is memorization and recitation. Um, and then Geordi's all of a sudden defending Data, saying like deductive reasoning is one of his strengths. So
So
just that conversation, that discussion leading up to the bulk of the episode, I thought was great.
I think Pulaski is right about all of that. I think she's wrong about Data specifically, but that concept of, we learn better from failure than we do from success. And, I think that's 100% true, right?
Yeah.
I know it goes back to, I really like the character Pulaski, and I don't understand why in the general like Star Trek fandom she's hated on so much, other than she replaced Crusher. That's all. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm. So I do say one of the notes I wrote down is that I felt like this episode has more than I picked up on too. I feel like just watching it once, I can tell there are very likely things that I missed, but could easily rewatch this one. So was Pulaski right about Data in this episode? Because what's the line here? So Data said he's read all of them, and she says your artificial friend doesn't have a prayer of solving a Holmes mystery that he hasn't read.
But
Who solved this one?
Well, that's a great point.
It wasn't Data.
No.
Picard came in and saved the day.
Yep.
Data didn't know what was going on,
Interesting.
or he couldn't do it. So was Pulaski wrong?
Does the fact that he couldn't solve it make Pulaski right? I think that's an interesting debate.
Her words were, he doesn't have a prayer of solving a Holmes mystery he hasn't read. And Geordi says maybe the computer could create one in the Holmes style, one where you wouldn't know the outcome. As I said, he wouldn't have a prayer.
So that, again, I mean, I see what they're trying to drive towards.
Now,
but that's a little like saying, Aaron, if you can't solve this super complex quantum physics problem, then you're not alive. That's not your
except for Data's expertise is essentially everything. And her point is he can recite things that he's memorized or read, but if he hasn't, he can't do it.
So I'm going to challenge.
So it's the exact same thing. It's the thing I said from the start. Recitation does not equal creative potential.
Because he is not an expert in emotion. He cannot convey emotion, nor can he interpret emotion. Can't be an expert in everything.
No, but I think that's I think kind of the point, that in general that is something that humans, those who are alive, not everyone, or in varying degrees, but if his degree is 0,
yeah, I think you're talking about originality. Does he have does he have the capacity of originality?
Can he have a creative thought, or his deductive reasoning? I've read this, so I know this answer is this, versus I've never seen this. Can I put these pieces together?
It's interesting shades of
and
gray.
Data didn't.
Because so I'm going to play devil's advocate here and keep you two up all goddamn night. Can you honestly say as a human being that you've ever had an original thought?
Maybe, maybe not. I think human beings have potential for that.
Sure.
And they have potential to create new ideas that have never been thought of before, and combine information, combine ideas to come up with something novel.
Yep.
I don't think right now a machine can do that.
I agree. I think today in 2024, a machine can't do that.
Yeah.
Are we arguing that Data can't?
I think it's a difference of.
I'm arguing Data didn't.
So
in one scenario, right? I don't disagree with you. I don't think you can take a singular data point and draw a conclusion from it, right? Well, that's
no,
part of the
not
debate.
Necessarily. Small sample size, but when he was faced with this test, you can't say that he passed.
Nope. not arguing that. I'm just saying that it
Yeah.
it isn't a definitive statement on whether or not he's alive, right?
I don't think you can probably ever make that definitive statement.
It was
But
the question of, can he be original though?
yeah.
I don't think that this is the definitive statement on whether or not
Isn't that the question? Like, can Chat GPT be original ever? Like, can it use trending to come up with a different idea on something, or can it only regurgitate?
do people argue that ChatGPT is original?
I don't know.
The argument is
I've
that
never seen
that's
anyone
the
argue.
fear that it can
But that's
eventually get there,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That eventually it's hit every outcome. So even like, I'm going to use a really specific example, but if I see XYZ at work, right? My job is to see that trend,
Yeah.
even though it's a different scenario. It might smell different, have a different flavor to it. The trending is the same. So there are circumstances that are changing on it where it might look a little bit different with hair on it. It's not the exact same. A computer can't tell the difference or wouldn't be able to see that they're the same scenario because there's enough variability on there. But as a human, I could look at it and go, I think this is the same scenario with a slight twist to it with XYZ. If I boil it down to the base components, it's the same like core unit at the bottom. The question is, can data boil it down to the core unit at the bottom and then extrapolate the same answer as, A as, can unit B be the same as A because that core unit was the same or not? And that was the question of whether or not he can break it all down, or is it all of the situations have to be identical in order for that solution to be driven?
Does Data understand the mystery, or does he just know the answer?
And I agree with all of that. I'm just saying you can't make a decision based on a singular data point.
No, but then he shouldn't have
Data.
accepted the thing. Like, she was doing that as a definitive, like, I'll teach you by doing this. So that's an interesting concept that he accepted the dare, quote unquote, in doing so. If there was no way to actually prove it as sufficient, unless he actually did pass it, in which case that would definitively prove it. So it's weird, right? Because if he was successful, it would have done it. But if he was unsuccessful, you're telling me it didn't disprove it. So it's kind of an interesting argument there.
Or he's learning from what happens when you fail.
Maybe.
Ask Jordy that. He seemed pretty frustrated still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even just that discussion, that the way that opened up in the episode, I thought was really good. I thought it was a very enjoyable episode. I would gladly rewatch this one and probably pick up more.
I agree. I do.
And I do find it funny how much Pulaski just does not seem to care for Data at all.
She has fun with it.
Yeah.
Didn't she call him Data? Was that this episode? What episode was it?
I think that was the first episode, right?
Well, what's the difference? One is my name.
There's not. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good. I liked it. I think it shows Moriarty showed a big fear that people have of AI, and that's not AI's ability to know a lot of stuff or regurgitate a lot of information, but when AI is able to rewrite its own code.
Yep.
And I don't know if that will ever happen, because if you think about it, that is essentially what intelligence is.
Right.
You and I, we can look at something and we can literally rewrite how we view things because of new information that we gather and new things, or just a new thought that comes into our minds, like that comes from seemingly nowhere, can rewrite how we view the world, how we interact, how we believe, anything like that. I don't know if any AI will ever be capable of doing that. So that's part of why I don't jump on the doomsday AI bandwagon.
I use it every day, and that's why I don't jump on the doom.
But yeah, I think those conversations are interesting, and the more things change, the more they stay the same, because this episode could have been made today
Mhm.
and really would not have had to be any different.
Nope. For sure.
Although I will say, I one note I forgot to make in the last episode, where something would have had to change in that one was I wrote down glorious 1988 synth music.
Oh, you
There
love
there wasn't so much of that in this one, but yeah, I really I enjoyed. I thought that this one had some great lines. It was a fun story, fun seeing them kind of like getting into that little pissing match of like, hey, you're not actually solving the mystery. Come on. And then Data accepting that challenge, and that's kind of cool. And then seeing him actually struggle with it. That's a cool thing to see. So,
we
any good
ready?
trivia on this one?
Yeah, there's some good trivia. Let's go through that so that we can all go to bed.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So, the first one I have for you is Moriarty's use of the phrase "that dark fellow" in reference to Shorty.
I missed that.
Did you not hear him say that?
I did not.
Oh, yeah, I wrote that one down and I was like, oh, that I don't know if that was a good thing to put in this episode or not. Moriarty's use of the phrase "that dark fellow" in reference to Geordi is the only reference to humans' race or skin color ever made on The Next Generation.
But so, like the way I think a number of Star Trek episodes have portrayed things is in some sense less about how they would view things in even 1988 or in the 2400s or 2300s, but in a sense of, okay, this was a programmed character with a
On a certain
19th
time
century
period.
background. So
I mean, it's I
you
did
don't
they were
you don't see woke
because of that.
Moriarty.
Yeah, not yet at least.
Yeah.
Um, Although it is commonly believed that Sherlock Holmes has been in the public domain since sometime before the 1980s, the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle estate maintained the copyright on the character, a claim set to expire in 2023, until their claim was voided by a court ruling in 2013, 10 years ahead of the planned date. Paramount Studios obtained permission from the Doyles to make Young Sherlock Holmes in 1985, but considered similar permission unnecessary for this episode, which they believed fell under the parody clause of copyright law, and thus aired the episode without notifying the Doyles.
Oh my.
The Doyles then wrote to
It's a bold
Paramount.
move, Cotton. Let's see how it works out.
The Doyles
Seriously.
then wrote to Paramount that they were flattered by the episode, but felt it remained within their legal sphere, so they wanted in on any further Trek usage of their characters. So they dodged the lawsuit, barely.
But then did they get paid the next time then?
Yes.
I would imagine.
Okay.
Yeah, a reasonable.
As part of the agreement, like, we won't sue you, but you're giving us a cut moving forward.
Although Brent Spiner is eager to play Holmes again, nearly 4 years went by before Paramount and the Doyles agreed on a reasonable licensing fee.
It's crazy.
Daniel Davis, who plays Moriarty, later appeared in The Hunt for Red October, which is a fantastic movie, portraying a senior crew member on the aircraft carrier USS Enterprise.
Huh.
The title parodies the expression "elementary, my dear Watson," which was created for movie adaptations of the Sherlock Holmes character. The line does not appear in the original Sir Arthur Conan Doyle stories. Never says it.
Really?
I'd heard that.
Kind of like Beam Me Up, Scotty. It's never been said. Let's see here. Wesley Crusher does not appear in this episode. And I think that's about it. That's what we got.
All right, so next week we've got, let's see, the next 3 episodes: The Outrageous Okona, Loud as a Whisper, and The Schizoid Man.
Yep.
Schizoid Man?
I think it's Schizoid. I think you had it right.
Schizoid. Cool. And then
Can't wait. Should be fun.
Yeah. Good start to, well, rough initial start to season 2, but overall good start to season 2.
Yep.
Fun to be back doing more Star Trek here. And maybe one of these times Greg will join us again.
Maybe.
He said he had a crazy day, and as of this morning he was hoping to make it, and then about 8:30 he was just like, "Oh man, is it a problem if I don't?" I was just like, "Don't worry about it. We're good."
We all hit crazy days.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well,
He's just not very effective.
Yeah, not very effective.
He's as effective as his favorite character.
All right.
He loves Tasha.
Can we please call this episode Not Very Effective?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's interesting to hear the different perspectives on some of these episodes. While Abbie didn't necessarily care so much for the problematical parts of the child, moving beyond season 1 is where the characters become who she knows them as throughout the series. I don't yet have that perspective, so for me it was just a bit of a space rape story with some really, really uncomfortable related discussions. But perspective is an interesting thing. The juxtaposition of the crew of the Enterprise next to the 20th century survivors at the end of season 1, and how primitive they were considered relative to the 24th century, and Nagilum offering very similar commentary on them. And of course I enjoyed Where Silence Has Lease. In the end, it was all about curiosity. Finally, we have another AI conversation, which sounds shockingly relevant to today. The more things change, the more they stay the same. I swear we had these same conversations with some of the sentient computer episodes from the original series. 60 years ago, 40 years ago, today, we are still struggling with the same questions and concerns about how AI and technology will impact our lives. It's interesting that we never seem to see a benevolent AI in these stories. And with that, I feel like this is a good place to wrap it up. So if you're watching along with us, next time we will discuss the first 3 episodes of Next Generation Season 2, The Outrageous Okona, Loud as a Whisper, and The Schizoid Man. As always, I want to thank you for spending your time listening to our conversations about Star Trek. If you enjoy what we're doing, please do us a favor and share with a friend. Also, leave us a rating and a review on your favorite podcast app. You can find us on X at Baldly Go Podcast, To Baldly Go Podcast on Facebook, and ToBaldlyGoPodcast.com. You can also find me at aaronemery.net. Leave us a note and let us know how you scored on the bar trivia questions. Did you beat our score of 71? For Abbie and Nate, this is Aaron, reminding you to never give up, never surrender. I'm sorry, what?